In 2006, Juventus, the most successful club in Italian football history, was stripped of 2 league titles and thrown into the second division. The world was told the club had fixed matches. The headlines were brutal: corruption, rigged referees, football mafia, case closed. But there's one detail almost nobody talks about. Italian courts later determined that no match result had actually been altered. Not one. No proven fixed scores. No manipulated final results. No evidence that Juventus changed the outcome of a single game. So how did the biggest club in Italy receive the football equivalent of a public execution for a crime the courts couldn't fully prove? This is Calciopoli, and this story is not what you think it is. Before we continue, comment below. Do you believe football institutions protect the game or protect power? Because by the end of this video, you may never look at football justice the same way again. In 2006, Italian football was at its peak. Serie A was the most powerful league on earth. Juventus dominated domestically. AC Milan dominated Europe. The Italian national team was preparing for the World Cup with a squad built around Juventus players. Italian football looked untouchable. Then the wiretaps leaked. Prosecutors investigating Juventus for an unrelated doping case intercepted phone calls involving Juventus executive Luciano Moggi and senior referee officials. The conversation sounded terrible. Moggi complained about referees, discussed appointments, asked questions nobody in football should have been asking. The media exploded. Italy called the scandal Calciopoli, a football version of political corruption. And overnight, Juventus became the villain of world football. But here's where the story becomes dangerous. Because Juventus was not the only club making those calls. AC Milan appeared in the investigations. Lazio appeared. Fiorentina appeared. Reggina appeared. Even Inter Milan, the club that benefited most from the scandal, would later be linked to similar conversations. But only one club was publicly destroyed: Juventus. And once you notice that imbalance, the entire scandal starts looking very different. Luciano Moggi became the face of corruption. The media portrayed him like a mafia boss controlling Italian football from the shadows. And to be fair, his behavior was deeply inappropriate. But inappropriate behavior is not the same thing as proven match fixing. That distinction matters, because years later, Italian courts officially stated there was no evidence that any match in the 2004-2005 season had been altered by the conduct uncovered in the investigation. Think about that carefully. The season itself was considered legitimate, yet Juventus lost titles anyway. And that raises a terrifying question. If no match was proven manipulated, what exactly was Juventus truly punished for? Comment below before we continue. Do you think Juventus was guilty or sacrificed? Because this is where football stops looking like sport and starts looking like politics. At the center of the storm stood Inter Milan, a sleeping giant, a club that had not won Serie A in nearly 2 decades. For years, they watched Juventus dominate Italian football, watched AC Milan conquer Europe, watched trophies go everywhere except Milan's blue side. Then Calciopoli happened, and suddenly everything changed. Juventus collapsed, titles disappeared, players left, power shifted overnight. Inter inherited the 2006 title. Then came 5 consecutive league championships. The greatest era in modern Inter history began immediately after Juventus was destroyed. And here's the detail almost nobody remembers. Years later, a second investigation revealed that Inter executives had also communicated with referee officials in ways extremely similar to the conduct that condemned Juventus. The difference? The statute of limitations had expired. Inter escaped punishment. That single detail changed everything. Because now the scandal no longer looked like justice. It looked selective. And selective justice is where trust dies. While Italy celebrated the collapse of Juventus, something else was happening. The 2006 World Cup. Italy won the tournament in Berlin. Cannavaro lifted the trophy. The country exploded with pride. But the spine of that World Cup winning team? Juventus players: Buffon, Cannavaro, Camoranesi, Del Piero, Zambrotta. the same club Italy publicly condemned, had just carried the national team to global glory. And while the country celebrated in Germany, Juventus prepared for life in Serie B. Imagine that contradiction. The club that built the national team was simultaneously being executed by the national football system. That's not just irony, that's institutional schizophrenia. And the deeper the trials went, the stranger everything became, because the criminal proceedings dragged on for years, and when they finally ended, most major convictions collapsed. Some cases expired, some accusations failed, some punishments disappeared. The giant criminal empire the media promised never fully materialized in court. But by then, it didn't matter. Juventus had already been destroyed publicly. That's the terrifying power of narrative. Once institutions and media align around a story, the punishment happens long before the final truth arrives. And football understood that perfectly. Juventus lost titles, lost players, lost money, lost reputation. Serie A itself never fully recovered. Before Calciopoli, Italy was football's center of gravity. After Calciopoli, the league slowly declined while England and Spain took over world football. The scandal didn't just wound Juventus, it wounded Italian football permanently. Top players left, sponsors lost confidence, global perception collapsed. The world no longer saw Serie A as greatness, it saw corruption. And maybe the most disturbing part of all is that football institutions never fully answered the central question. Why was Juventus punished so much harder than everyone else? Because when punishment becomes disproportionate, people stop seeing justice. They start seeing power. And that's what Calciopoli ultimately reveals. Not that football was corrupt. Most fans already suspected that. No, the real revelation is far more dangerous. Football institutions have the power to destroy clubs through narrative before complete truth ever arrives. And once that machine starts moving, almost nobody can stop it. Not players, not fans, not courts. Because football is not just a sport anymore, it's an empire. And empires protect themselves first. Now think about modern football. Manchester City's won 15 charges, financial investigations, federation punishments, political pressure. Does any of it feel familiar? Because Calciopoli may not have been the last time football institutions reshaped the game behind closed doors. It may have simply been the first time the world noticed. And if a club can lose everything without a single proven altered result, then no club is ever truly safe. If this story changed how you see football, subscribe to the B-Side of Football and turn on notifications. Because every episode here uncovers another layer hidden beneath the version they sold you. And before you go, tell me in the comments, was Calciopoli justice or a power grab disguised as justice? Because the deeper you look into football, the darker the game becomes.